Hey, what is going on, everybody? Boilon here, back for another video on Raid Shadow Legends. Now, in today's video, I've taken over a clanmate's account, the Srithmic, because he needs some help pushing a little bit further on Demon Lord clan boss. Now, I have already put in a little bit of work on the account, or I've made some suggestions here and there, but I haven't actually sat down and kind of re-geared his characters, because oftentimes that is where people kind of fall short a little bit, is that maybe they have the gear, maybe they don't, to push forward a little bit further on certain stats, especially on your DPS characters, but it can be for everyone, honestly. And what I want to kind of point out, though, before we get into that, is the starting point. It was worse than this before, actually. It was like 45 million damage on Ultra Nightmare, but this is Force Affinity because you can see that Ezio, Pelops, and Mikey are all spirit-based, so they're going to get extra damage on Force Affinity Demon Lord, and that's basically the highest he's got. So we need to get up above that 70 million mark so we can get that one key, even if it's on manual one time, just to get that unlocked. And so I think what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be focusing on the 3 damage characters, Ezio, Pelops, and Mikey. I'm going to take a look at their gear, take a look at relics, masteries, things like this, see if there's any room for improvement. And there is a gear enhancement going on right now, so I'm going to see whether or not I can utilize that and maybe upgrade some gear that I think looks a little bit better. Also, as far as supports go, I mean, you absolutely can do better there, and mostly that comes down to, I would say anyways, things like speed stat is a big deal, and also maybe some survivability, maybe a little bit of extra HP or defense, something like that. But usually it often comes hand in hand with speed. So we're going to take a look at that as well. We'll kind of see what's going on under the hood and see whether or not we can get a little bit further, right? And I like to do these kinds of things because depending on where you're at in your game, and hey, if you guys are interested, if someone's watching this and is interested in doing a video like this with me, then feel free to DM me on Discord because I'm always available to help players out on their accounts. But before we get started with all of that, I do want to remind people that you can use the QR code in the top right hand of the screen to get the legendary Orc RTAC absolutely free, alongside Ferric the Fat, Fenex, and Cryot in the Blue at level 10, 20, and 30. And don't forget about Pelops, who we're going to be taking a look at here. And you can get him absolutely free as well. And you just have to use the promo code RAID7 on a brand new account within the first 48 hours. So, okay, we're at 60-something million Demon Lord. I want to take a look at these 5 characters in particular, because those are the characters that we're going to be focusing on. One thing is, some people might have some of these other champions as well, namely a Xenomorph. My only complaint to him, about him for Demon Lord, is that he stacks so many poison buffs with his passive and his A1 that if you don't have enough, you probably need more than one. You do need more than one than just Ezio for poison detonation. Then it just stacks up so much, and sometimes it can be problematic because it's stacking up more than, say, normal debuffs that you actually need to apply. So we have Ezio, we have Mikey, and we have Pelops. Because I think this will be faster, let's just take a look under the hood with the support characters. So we have Mavar, the Web Diviner. In the Survival Instinct Blessing, now only 1 red, Tahanarak's 2 red, and 2 red Brimstone. That's not really going to do much, right? Because you only have a 15% chance of applying this, which I guess she attacks twice, but it's still not that great. I want to just look at we already have a 3 red Brimstone over here, and we have Nature's Wrath and another Brimstone. So right off the bat, I would say there's too much Brimstone. What I would suggest actually would be to change one. I'm not going to do it for him, but one thing that I would do would be to change one of them to Cruelty. If you could get like a 3 red Cruelty, even on, I guess at this point it would be Pelops, right? Because he's sitting with a 3 red. So I would change Pelops to Cruelty, because he's going to get that extra. When it comes to Demon Lord, you're going to permanently decrease defense on Demon Lord by up to 10%. So even this could actually get those damage numbers up a little bit higher over the long term of the fight, right? That's something that he needs to spend the 300 gems to do that, just because that 3 red makes it a little bit stronger. Otherwise, you could do it on Tahanarak, right? I don't know if he can do it for free either here. It looks like he can, but again, that you're only going to get 5% with a 1 red versus 10% for a 3 red. So that would be my suggestion, just because there's already a Brimstone on Ezio. And I don't think that he's necessarily wanting to change that. 5 red Cruelty could be even better, although Ezio doesn't. I would say that Ezio actually does better with Nature's Wrath as well. So Brimstone can be good, but I think over the long term, get where the hell is it's in harmony, right? Nature's Wrath over the long term on 5 red is a permanent like 15% increase on total damage dealt over the entire fight. So, I think that that is better overall than occasional damage from Brimstone, but also that combined with cruelty, I think is going to make a pretty big difference. So that's the easiest thing that I would suggest. Let's take a look at the masteries though, and also skills actually. So that's fine. That's maxed out. The cooldowns are maxed out. That's fine, especially for support characters and Demon Lord. That's pretty important. Masteries look okay. War Master with supports, that's fine, and the buff extensions, that's also fine. Buff and debuff extensions, that's fine. Let's take a look at relics. Orb of Transfixion. Not sure if it matters too much there, but some other ones that you could potentially use is the... Well, actually, no, sorry. Hanorach does not have turn meter increase. I was going to say a lot of support characters like to have the Journal of Necrotos, but I'm not sure if it matters too much here. Unless we got something super amazing. Gilded Pinion, maybe. Now let's take a look at Mavara. Has Journal of Necrotos, that's fine. Skills are pretty much maxed out. It's not a big deal in the A1 there. We have Survival Instinct. I mean, it's only 1 red, so it really doesn't matter at this point. Honestly, I guess it's okay. And then we have this... is this the Resistance Mastery? Turn meter, right? That's okay. Yeah, right, that's fine. That's fine. I think this is more or less fine. It's not really a big deal. That's okay for PvE Mavara. And then let's take a look at, before we get into gear, let's take a look at Ezio. Okay, so his gear sets are kind of wonky. Quite wonky. He's got a 1-piece Merciless. He's got a 2-set Speed, 2-set Chronophage, and Feral. It's kind of all over the place. Now, this is where I think, it's sets over, or sorry, stats over sets, right? That's the kind of the mantra here. He's got 115% crit rate, but his crit damage is a touch on the low side at 231. I think it could, Arethi Coronet is actually pretty good. I think that's worthwhile. Normally, I also have that on in Malefic Talon. Those two are interchangeable. I think Arethi Coronet's fine. That Blessing, though, maybe not. Skills booked. Yeah, he is on War Master. Now, in Demon Lord does not have a significant amount of defense. So that's where things like Helm Smasher doesn't do as much, just because like when you do harder content in Hydra and Chimera, this makes a very big deal because they got a lot of defense to ignore. But when it comes to even Ultra Nightmare Demon Lord, it's not that big of a deal. But I wonder over the long term if this would increase his damage overall. It's been a while since I've done the difference between War Master and Helm Smasher in terms of the full fight on a Demon Lord fight. But that was one thing that would stick out at me. This HP banner, I mean, it's good speed though, right? And I guess that's giving him the 40 accuracy. His accuracy is at 250, which you still need to land these. I think that's exactly where the threshold is for Demon Lord, is like 255. I think so. Yeah, I guess that is important to be able to land these, because he's going to lose that perfect veil. They're not using, actually that's not true. They're using Mavara, so I forgot that actually places the perfect veil. So that's going to help Ezio quite a bit to be able to make sure that he maybe doesn't need the accuracy, to be honest. So that's something that we could probably change this banner to give him more attack and try to get him equal amount of speed, things like that. Crit damage, if we could find a better necklace. Well, it's a good necklace, but if we could, I don't know, does he he probably doesn't have the Chaos Powder. I honestly want to flip this, but I also don't know what better gear there might be in terms of the accessories, so we'll have to break that down as well. This gear set is something maybe we should try to look to see if we can salvage and do something a little bit better on that. Mikey, 9-piece Feral. Okay. That's interesting. Allies deal 5% more damage per each debuff placed by the wearer. I mean, he does place like 2, 3, actually. So attack down, defense down, and leech. So I never thought about that. But his crit damage is on the low end there, 217, and that's even with... is that a crit damage? No. So this is where we need to find... it's going to break the set, right? But he needs that... I don't know. You really need that crit damage, I think. I would be interested to see what the difference is between this 9-piece bonus and having like 40% extra crit damage, right? I would think the crit damage would kind of be better, but we'll see. That's the one thing that I see about that. Again, using War Master, not Helm Smasher. And then for Pelops, we have the Skull of Treason, which hasn't been upgraded actually, like at all. He's got like if we're gonna use it, just there's no reason not to, right? Is there a reason that I should have done that? Because like it's I maybe didn't need to, but yeah, there we go. Might as well level that up, and then we have most of the ability, not the A1, and then we have War Master again over there. So it's not so bad, right? The starting gear set's okay. Crit damage super low. He's got a good amount of HP for the magma shield. That's nice, but crit damage is pretty low. So I wonder if that's something that we can bring up, because I think that's going to make a big deal. Speed is a little bit too high, actually. Maybe a little bit too high. 258, that's pretty high. Maybe we can lower that down a little bit, but in exchange, try to get some more crit damage, and especially then. Oh, he actually does have a crit damage necklace. I'm shocked that the crit damage is actually that low. But maybe maybe we don't need this so much. So we'll take a look. That's just a brief overview of his characters. Let's see and break down what we can do. So the first thing I want to do, actually, we're going to be taking a look at Michelangelo because of this 9-piece feral set. I'm kind of like, well, maybe there's something better that we can do. I was looking at the crit damage and the kind of lack thereof. Accuracy also being 405, honestly, is kind of high, given that Mikey doesn't need that much. He actually ignores target resistance. The issue, though, is his speed is quite low. He's at 209, and this feral banner actually has no speed on it, so that doesn't matter. Let's see if we can find a better necklace first. So I wanted to kind of take a look at crit damage, but he doesn't have a ton of options here. There is a Mercurial one here, right? You're going to get some like a one-piece, like Resistance. Slayer, he's already pretty high above his crit rate. He's at 109, but we might be able to lower that through like others. And there's only 5 stars. He has no 6-star crit damage necklaces for Bannerlords. It's a little bit unfortunate, actually. That one's a blue. We could go with this anyways. What I want to do is maybe take it to 12 and then ascend it, and then see if we can get that crit damage bonus. The other thing was that, yeah, this necklace here is not crit damage based, so like what I really want to do is I want to like use Chaos Powder and try to flip it. Mercurial's also a good thing to have anyways. Can we flip this to crit damage? That's what I would like, and we did. So it's not the 40% from a 6-star, but overall, like, it is still pretty good. He's got tons of resources up at the top. Oops, sorry, my scene was a bit weird. Now you can see it. He's got a fair bit at the top. So I am actually going to go all the way to that. I think it's a good piece, and we're gonna go with this. And I want to I hate that it's so expensive to upgrade accessories, but we're gonna do this anyways. That one only costs less than $1 million, so that's not bad. So that's an extra 32% crit damage, which I would say is quite significant, right? We're gonna be breaking that feral set though, which I found was a bit weird, and we're gonna see what else he has in the banner section here. We've already broken the set. We're gonna lose a little bit of speed though if we change to something else. So I want to ideally like move to something with like an attack primary stat, right? Because we really want to just get that damage out, but it doesn't seem like he has a lot of great options here. He does have this one, and I would lose a little bit of speed, but I'd be gaining. And I hate that it's just like a regular piece, like it's not a nine piece. Did get a speed on that actually. So again, I hate that it's like a regular item. He doesn't have it. He seems to lack a lot of, unless it's on somebody else. Nope. He seems to lack a general variety of accessories, but that's maybe not his fault, right? I think he's maybe like 7-8 months into the game, so he hasn't had time to kind of gather them so much. I kind of want to go for this one. It is actually an increase of speed and a big increase in attack here. The drop in HP is not really a big deal. I kind of want to just take it to 16 as well. That's okay. Never mind. I thought I saw a 6 million drop. I was like, what? We're gonna equip this, right? So that's 447 more attack. And then we had a pretty huge bump in, and this is fine, right? Maybe even taking this to 16, because it could roll again into attack percent. So that could get his stats up even higher. At this point, I don't really need to drop that. I mean, unless he's got, I don't know, probably not Mercurial attack. No, he's got nothing really substantial here. So, I mean, at this point, you'd probably want to just roll them up to 16, I would say. It costs a lot, but and it didn't roll into attack. It's unfortunate. Let's see if we can, you know, enchant some of this stuff a little bit more. I don't think we really need it. Actually, the accuracy is still fine that he has. He has a lot. This, however, let's put an Ascension on it to see what happens. And we get resistance. It's not... I'm not going to roll it because I don't want to mess it up, but we don't really need the resistance necessarily. That attack percent, however, can go up. Let's see. We got 2%. Could be better. He's got a lot of these speed glyphs, so let's use a few of them. 2. Can we get a... I don't want to use too many of them on his account, though. But yeah, there we go. Use some of these, some glyphs to add some extra stats in there. So, I mean, I think we've already improved our crit damage quite a bit. We even got our speed up a little bit more, and our attack went up a little bit more as well. Looking at some of the ascensions here, we got that, right? Like, he should probably do this. Like, get that to 20%. That's an extra 8% attack, right? That he didn't have before. So I think he should have probably finished that. Same with here, right? It is a crit damage, right? So that's why his crit damage isn't as high, because at some point you want to kind of build your, you want crit damage gloves, but in order to be able to use those, you need to have a lot of crit rate on your substats, and that's kind of hard to do sometimes, honestly. This isn't a terrible piece, but what I would do is he's got the resources to do it, so I would just finish up the Ascension. That's an extra 8% attack there as well. So just between this was like 16% attack, and his crit damage went way up. So even that should really help, honestly. He's got some pretty... I mean, it's a pretty good feral set. I just don't know if the 9%... We'll see, right? Allies deal 5% per... So now that I look at it again, I kind of forgot, because I've almost never run 9-piece feral, but it's everyone else that's doing extra damage, in fact. But it has to be debuffs placed by the wearer. So if there's ever a time that it kind of overwrites by somebody else, that's where actually this doesn't happen. Like, if it's the same debuff, you lose that. So I'm wondering, because there's some overlap, especially with Michelangelo and Hanorak, and then Michelangelo and Pelops, that I'm wondering how frequently, like for the attack down and the defense down, I'm wondering how frequently this stuff actually stays up. Right, you got the decreased attack here. Actually, I guess it's just decreased attack, right? Defense comes from him, and nobody else. Oh no, actually, Ezio also has it on his A1. I forgot. So yeah, I'm wondering overall, right? This should be a pretty big increase, though, just for that. We do have a little bit more. Can we go just a little bit more attack? Might as well squeeze that out, right? I think why not? It's a good piece. Anyways, these are all HP based. Actually, that's attack based. We could do that as well. I know it seems very minor, but we're trying to squeeze out, like, we're at the point now where he needs just to squeeze out as much as he possibly can. Where I am, Pelops is probably the one, or not Pelops, Ezio is probably the one that I'm concerned about the most as far as the overall gear. His accuracy is kind of basically where it needs to be. However, with Mivara in the mix, also, what is this? All this accessories with like no levels on it. I'm very confused. And also, why do we have 9-piece debuffs? She doesn't place debuffs. I'm very concerned. I'm confused as to why we're using that, and also why we're not using, I guess it's speed. I'm going to have to kind of look under the hood when it comes to Mavara. I didn't even notice the gear. And then we have a mixture of perception and speed on to Hanorak, which is okay, but a lot of under-leveled shit. So this might explain a lot. And Mikey, I think, is where I'm okay with leaving it just for now. I said I was going to start with the DPS characters, right? So, I mean, Ezio's... He's at decent crit rate. He's got this necklace. And I kind of want to re-roll this one. Does he have any other crit damage necklaces for Sacred Order? That's kind of what I would be curious to know. And not really. Like, they're all standard, so I don't really like that so much. And this one, this Chronophage is actually, it's 6-star. So what I might do here is I might try to re-roll it, right? And I did that with the other ones. It's not that difficult to re-roll into crit damage unless we're super unlucky. I think it's worth trying. Come on. Please? Please give me crit damage. There we go. Okay, we got it. So I think, honestly, this is going to help a lot too. Right? We got an extra, what was that? Like 10%, 12% crit damage after re-rolling it. So I think that's helpful. We also need to get some accuracy onto that. I'm almost tempted of just doing the 6-star here. We got a full plus 16. That's nice, actually, because his accuracy was a little bit on the low end in the times where he may not be under perfect veil. That's the only thing that I'm concerned about, like later on in the fight. And if things happen with Mavara, then he can't place any of his debuffs, including his poisons, which can be a pretty big deal. Now, I mean, every little bit counts, so we might as well just chuck that up in there with the attack as well, right? You know, some extra attack stats. This feral banner is of concern to me. What else do we have to work with? Let's see here. Do we have anything? What is it? It's an HP banner. Why do we have that? Is there accuracy banners? There's a stone skin banner. There an attack banner? What else? What's our options? There's a feral attack banner, so I'm actually not sure why we're not wearing that. That should be a little bit better overall. It is 6-star as well, so let's. It's the stats is a little bit off, right? Kind of see that here in the corner here that we're kind of losing a little bit of stats, but it's also level 8, so let's bring this up to 12. We got a speed roll. That's nice. We also cleared one of the coalition events. So that is still a small decline in speed, but overall, once we get this to 16 and we put some stuff on it, it should... Oh, rolled into speed again. That's even better, actually. So using this is identical, even though this is a good HP feral sacred order piece. That's not exactly what we want for Ezio. So we are gaining 200 attack. That is without any ascensions or glyphs. We can actually put a speed glyph on this as well. He's got a lot of 6-star speed glyphs. So there we go. We got a +8. That's pretty nice. 26 speed there. That's fine. And then because it's... You know what, because it's Demon Lord, we probably should be kind of like giving a little bit of defensive stats. You know, all this, everything adds up, right? So let's do that, and let's put an Ascension on here. And this is where if we could land an attack or a accuracy Ascension, this would be great. I can't use too much of this stuff, though, so I don't know if I'm going to do this one more time. Resistance is okay, but that's not exactly what I wanted. Fuck. So I'm sorry, Diz. Let's put up anyways. I guess his survivability might go up. I didn't really want to. I was hoping we'd get attack or accuracy, and then we have the chronophage ring, and it's in HP. It's a lot of HP. Like I know he needs protection, but typically you still want to put on maybe like attack based rings, but with HP percent. What does he have that's available here? We have a standard ring and we have pinpoint. Pinpoint would give a little bit more. We're losing. Oh shit! We're actually losing 11 speed because of that. So I'm not sure. Here, this is a 6-star. What do we have? It's 9%. Yeah, I might just leave it, but it's not ideal, right? Some of the rings that he has is not particularly ideal here with their sub rolls either. So I might just have to leave that. What is... Still lose the speed, I guess, but it's a lot of extra attack. I'm gonna leave it for just now, but that's only because we have that necklace here from Chronophage for the necklace there. So we're gonna leave this. Now it's this gear that I'm like, we need to do a complete overhaul. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go take a look and see what we can do in his gear and then come up with something better. Okay, so upon looking at his gear and his artifact and what he has, and I have this currently, it's filtered by things with a speed substat. Just because speed still does matter for the most part. There's not a ton of good DPS gear. And I'm looking at things like Slayer, Merciless, maybe Zeal. Things to get his crit damage up. I don't think he has enough pieces in general to form an ignored defense set. And I also don't know if that's necessary right now until we get to the point where he's basically one king Ultra Nightmare, because like I said, Demon Lord does not have a significant amount of defense. But for more ender game content, if you're using him in those harder content pieces of content, they do kind of start getting more of this defense stat, right? And so having ignored defense is really important. There is some cruel gear here, but I actually don't hate some of his pieces. Like this crit damage piece has 21% crit rate on the gloves. If we could flip this to additional... if we could rework, he's got a bit of crit. I want to see, can we rework this into something? That's not bad, actually. Attack. I might not fuck around with that too much because that actually is a lot of additional attack. So I might keep that here, and I'm also going to max out the Ascension on that too. That is actually a lot of attack. And so we're going to work on that one. We're going to keep that a little bit. That's a lot of extra attack that we're giving him. Now, we have 3 pieces of speed set, though, of which we're not making a 4th. And he doesn't really need to be this fast. 242s, like, we could drop this down to, like, 220 and it would be fine. So I'm thinking which one we'd be dropping would be probably the shield, I'm thinking, because I did see a merciless shield here. Now, this one's level 9, level 8, as you can see behind my head. And I'm actually, you know what? I probably should have done this earlier. Let's just kind of remove myself from here, just so you can see the corners a little bit better on the gears. So we have 11% crit damage, but also a 2-piece merciless. Even if that's all we do, right? Gives additional crit damage. So I really want to get his damage up higher. He has about 15% crit rate that he can lose, and he can lose that speed as well. So I'm thinking that we do this shield. I think it's probably better. Yes, it also has a 9 speed. It's not bad, right? We're only losing 12 speed, actually. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And I'm also going to level it up. We're going to go to 12. We're going to see what it lands on. If crit damage would be great, or speed, it did not, of course. We're going to roll this up to 16. And he needs... Oh, we got some extra crit damage. So overall, we've improved our crit damage quite a bit. Let's just chuck an Ascension, just randomly see if we get attack. Oh, we did, actually. So, you know, why not just get a little bit more? It is a 5-star gear piece, though. I do understand that, so I won't go too far on that. We can actually roll up a speed glyph on here, so that'll improve it as well. So we've actually bridged the gap. We didn't really lose that much, right? We lost like maybe 8 or so by taking off that shield, but we got way more crit damage as a result of that piece there. So I'm a little bit more comfortable with that. This toxic chestplate, on the other hand, now again, we're at 106 crit rate, so we can't lose this entirely. Unless we found a similar item, but it would have to have both. Well, maybe it doesn't have to have speed, but it would at least have to have crit rate, and then the chest piece, and then the primary stat attack percent. I don't know if any of these exist. What does he have? Cruel, and actually, I would prefer 6-star as well, because that's what he's currently using, and there's like 2 pieces. So, yeah, not really sure. We could lose the crit rate, actually. We don't lose so much, but we lose... What I'm curious about is whether or not we can get a better ascension out of this. I would take 12 and then see where it lands. It went into flat HP. I don't like that. But if we can get an ascension that's attack percent, no, I didn't think so. I was just curious. Yeah, the flat stat's not so great. Oh, actually, this one's weird. It's more. Let's see if we could take this up to. I mean, we're just using pieces that are good anyways. We got more HP. Didn't really want that either, but can we get an attack percent ascension? We didn't. Okay, so, well, that sucked. I don't really want to... Did I already try to flip this? I think I did not. HP percent, it's not... Let's see. Can we get this to something better? I don't want to waste too much of his chaos dust to do that, though. No, we just went back to HP percent. Okay, I don't want to mess around too much more with that. I think even that on its own, the problem is that I just don't see a lot of general gear, and we could go into 5-star, but when it comes to these pieces, I really, you know what, I like that. So let's just finish off that Ascension extra 2 speed there as well, right? So that's fine. I think we've already done quite a bit by getting some more crit damage on his chronophage. We also changed the banner up. We also did not change that. We got the shield up there as well. So we've improved his crit damage quite a bit to about 275%. So even that alone, I think, would make a pretty significant deal. I think we've made some improvement there. Now, Pelops, right? Like, he needs some help, I think. And where we are at, he does have a crit damage necklace. That's fine. Chronophage is not the best. HP, that's also fine. It's good speed, actually. Problem is, he probably doesn't have a shit ton of 9-piece sets, but we'll take a look. What does he have on accessories? Is there anything that's kind of viable with maybe like a speed substat, also with primary HP? Not really, right? He has a kind of lack. Overall, I don't want to change. It's fine. It's not the best, but you know what? It's okay for what it is. And this crit damage here, that's something. Let's take a look at what else he might have as far as necklaces go, because I do want to get his crit damage up. His crit damage on Pelops is shockingly low. It's like 123%. His crit rate's a bit too high. He's running crit rate gloves. I'm wondering, this is probably where we could make the most amount of improvements, I think. Pelops is not the easiest to gear. Let's take a look at primary stats for crit damage. What does 6-star here, actually, but it's a regular one. We would lose speed, right? Because even a 2-piece chronophage still gives you that 10% speed. So that's the kind of down part of it. It also has accuracy and resistance as substats, which is not terrible. I'm wondering whether or not we can kind of utilize this at all, especially the 6-star pieces. Can we take these to 12, and can we ascend it and get crit damage out of it more? We don't have a ton of crit powder, chaos powder left, so I'm a little bit worried. Or maybe should I just try and flip this from its HP to crit damage? That's something we might be able to do, right? We have a 1 in 4 chance. Crit damage. Do it one more time. That's probably about it. Crit damage, and we did. So that's extra damage there as well. Okay, so we're going to go ahead. We're going to max that out. That's fine, right? And we might just keep... I don't know why we have an attack ring, I'll be honest, because he's not attack-based. Is that all he has? Is that why? I'm a little bit confused. He has this. It's defense-based. That's not much better. It does have 20% HP percent. So we might just have to leave that, and it's just highly unfortunate what he's actually using for that. It's the rest of this stuff. Like, his speed is a bit... maybe it's not too high, but his crit damage is definitely on the low end. And so... what do we got here? We got HP 6. That's a lot of HP. Like, these are not individually bad items, right? We got 4 stars, the speed set. So, like, it's... crit rate. You know, like, I don't know why. It's just... it seems like it's probably this. Right? Do we need this? I don't know. Like, can we get a better relic? That might be the way that we go forward on this, but he doesn't seem to have, unless I can take some from, we have this, the Thunderbolt Spear, actually, and I'm half tempted to just level this up and kind of shove it on him. He doesn't have... I wish I could take that up to rank 4, right? Because that's an extra 21% crit damage. That's an easy way. I don't know if he needs this Skull of Treason, where it deals 10% more damage to enemies with higher max HP. It's nice, but I don't know if we're relying on the burn damage there on Demon Lord, to be honest. So I might even consider exchanging these. So I think that's what I want to do, is I want to put that Thunderbolt Spear on him, and then we're going to like kind of use some different gemstones, see what he's got. Multi-hit skills, nope. Where deals against shields, nope. He's got a couple of... these life drains are great for Scarab King, but we don't actually have a lot of triangles that are really that relevant. Bosses deal 5% less damage, that's decent. Enemies against full HP, so I'd probably... where's 5%? I'd do the unflinching, right? We take a little bit less damage. I think that's fine for just now. That gets our crit damage up a little bit more, but I feel like there's something better that we can do about this. Even that is like 16% crit damage. Why is this crit damage so low? My guess is Pelops, right? Like, so I'm also thinking about the Great Hall, right? So yeah, he's just finishing up. I would have ignored this, to be honest, because his account is so early that he does not have a lot of void characters. I would have jumped right into crit damage this. I really want to upgrade this. Honestly, I'm gonna do like the first couple ones because it's very low. But all of his DPS characters are spirit, right? So that's 10% across the board on all of his spirit affinity characters, which is all of his major DPS. So that helps too, right? We can get that up a little bit more. Now, I just feel like there's something more we can do about this. His crit rate's a bit on the high side. His speed's also a little bit, I would say, a little bit on the higher end. But I just don't know. It's this gloves, but we can't just drop that, right? Because dropping 50% crit, taking it down to 74, we would need to make that up somewhere else, and I'm just not sure exactly how we go about doing that. So let's see what we have for, and we lose the speed. Losing the speed's fine, actually. Let's see, what do we have? And I'm curious, what can we do about this? Okay, so can we get crit damage gloves that are 6-star? What is the options? Do we have any crit rate stuff? Like, I'm just like, can we... even with just certain sets, it can go a long way. Mercurial, defense and speed, right? We're losing speed, but like, it would be so nice. Is there with like a crit rate... no, crit rate substat. That would be great. Is anything out there? 12%. If we could somehow make it up, right? This would be absolutely amazing. 11%, 12%, 12%. Okay, just on the sets though. 17%. This would drop us down to minus 33. we would go down to, what is that? We need 9. It's actually, you know what? Honestly, if we could get, it's a lot of speed loss. A lot of speed loss. But if we could ascend this to a crit rate percent, this would pretty much make it up. This is a long shot. This is a super long shot. And I'm gonna feel horrible about using his chaos powder. Fuck. Is there a way that we could get that and get? Oh my god. Okay, before I accidentally got logged off, actually, by Dysrhythmic, I I really want to do something with this because it's just an insane amount of crit damage up that would boot. And honestly, surprisingly, it actually improves his HP because of the ascension there. Can we do something about this? Because that would make a significant amount of damage increase. And I think, and that's actually a good HP percent for him as well. That's an extra 5,000 HP. I'm just wondering if there's something that we can do. I want to see if we can rework this to see. Let's go into the fitting room, right? I want to try this on. And I'm going to go look around for other gear pieces to see whether or not we can get that crit rate to 100% and still maintain this insane crit damage. Okay, so I think I found the ticket, and that's replacing his helmet here. We're going to lose a bit more accuracy, and we're also going to lose a little bit more of possibly this HP. This helmet has a 30% HP, which is huge. But it is the weakest link when it comes to crit rate. We have a one piece on that speed boots, so I'm wondering, we have some speed artifact helmets here that actually have some decent crit rate on it, and if we can roll some stats into this, I'm hoping that perhaps we might be able to find something that maybe works. 12%, 12, we got crit rate. Okay, so that gets us to 7. Is that gives us to 98? And I want to roll this up to 16 to get that. No, we went into accuracy, not crit rate. So that is highly unfortunate. What about, and I don't like that there's no substat in speed. Why did it have to roll this way? I don't even want to roll it into 12 crit rate. Will it? No, it didn't. So that was not very good there either. That is highly unfortunate. This would be probably the best thing here, but it would bring us up to 98. It's not 100, guys, but like, and I know that 2% could matter, but he's increased his crit damage by like a whopping 80%, which I think is quite big. So I'm almost willing to take that HP loss there. Brings him down to 90. This is probably where he was at before I started messing around on the HP. He's lost, sadly, about like 20 speed, but he's gained over like 80% crit damage. And I think that would actually matter. I want to run the numbers, and also with Thunderbolt Spear, right, that's even more. We've like over 100% crit damage on Pelops, and his damage can actually be pretty good. So I'm going to also just run the Ascension on that because that's an extra speed, extra 2 speed. Is there anything else that we can do? Well, we can actually add the HP percent. I forgot. He doesn't have, let's add some glyphs on there because that would help for sure. Extra 3%. We could have done a little bit better on that. Let's get his defense up there as well because why not? Survivability matters in Demon Lord as well. That headpiece, yeah, we could do some HP percent. That's fine. And some accuracy, why not, right? 6 accuracy, there we go. Let's do some HP percent. That sucked. Let's do for this tier 6. We got an extra 5% HP over here. So overall, probably not a huge decrease, or even maybe a little bit better, in fact, on his total stats here. So I think I'm okay with trying this again. So that's Pelops. We did Mikey. We didn't make a lot of changes to Mikey, but we still made some pretty good sizable changes there. I wish we could maybe try and, I almost want to try and flip it. He's already tried to flip it, actually, to a better stat, so I won't fuck around with that. And then we have Pelops, we have Ezio. We made a little bit of change to Ezio, right? We got that crit damage up, though, which was nice. And I think that'll make a pretty big change. And then we have Mavara, who's in this Feral set, which I really don't like. I'm almost okay with leaving this, but what I don't like about Tahanara is all this under-leveled gear. That being said, it's purple, so it's not going to get, like, could we get a speed roll? Would that be possible? No. Defense percent, that would increase the survivability, right? Her accuracy is fine, so that's not really a big deal. I feel like this could be altered, right? And attack, I don't really know what's going on, but more speed, right? So that is a thing, but the sets suck. Like, are there any other options? No, not really. For the chronophage, just more accuracy. I guess it's the lack of available accessories on on this account, really. Chronophage attack. We have a defense one. That's fine, I suppose. And then it's this feral necklace. I think his accuracy is quite high, so I don't think we need that. Is there a chrono? What would that get you? More resistance, not a big deal, right? So what kind of other what do we have to work with? It's all attack based, so maybe it doesn't matter so much. The HP is better than nothing, I guess you could say. Maybe let's get a little bit more HP, right? Level 12's fine. I can get a little bit of additional stats on there, and then maybe might as well glyph it too. I don't see why not. Let's put a +4 glyph there. And resistance, why not? Although you're not resisting much, but over in other fights, it might make might make more of a deal. And then this, I don't, level 12s, right? The gloves probably should go up to 16 because even though it's a blue, it's still like 17% defense that's like sitting off the table. So I don't really like this, and we're gonna do that. We need to clear gear ascension, gear enhancement, anyways. This one, not that big of a deal. His accuracy is already pretty high. I'm just wondering, is there anything better that we don't need that accuracy, but it is a decent amount of speed. So I'm like, okay, can we get speed? Can we get it somewhere else? Can we get more of this? Is that possible? What do we have? Perception. Here, what do we have? Defense percent. Like even some of this would be better, I think, right? We're only losing a little bit of speed there. It's not a crazy amount of do we land that? And I was like, would that land into speed? So the overall increases to survivability, though, I would think would be quite good. We're losing 8 speed though, and I don't know if that's worth it overall. But we don't really need that accuracy, and that was I think I might do it, honestly. I might roll it up to 16 anyways. I don't think that he has a lot of. Let's see if we can get an ascension. He doesn't have a lot of like, let's say stuff like Hydra gear, like protection and stuff like that. Because I'm not really seeing a whole lot of this, right? So it's not unless we can get up to like 4-piece, which I don't think we can. Doesn't really matter so much. So I think I'm gonna put that up because that's a lot of more survivability stats. It is, however, a loss of 8 speed. I'm just hoping that we can kind of that's okay. I know that that can matter over the long term. Okay. So otherwise we have 4-piece perception, 2-piece speed. It's okay, right? It's fine for what it is, I think. And then we'll level this up to 12 as well, because we'll get some extra stats and some more survivability as well. Let's roll an ascension since it's level 12. We got some defense. What can we get over here? We can get some more defense as well. Maybe HP, that's fine too. And this one too, we can actually, we can get it up to level 12 because we should probably do that anyways, so we can ascend it. And then maybe we can make up some of that accuracy, right? Now we got some resistance. That's also fine too, like especially later on when you start doing other content. Resistance is a very helpful stat. So it's fine. Let's go to Mavara and let's finish up with Mavara. I mean, first of all, like if you're going to use it at all, take it up to level 12, right? Like I feel like there's a lot of wasted stats here that isn't happening. We can do an ascension on. He's got tons of ascension material. Like even if it's just some extra survivability stats, I think everything matters. We have a defense here without even looking at what else he has, right? I just don't know why it's not at least level 12. We get those extra stats in there. Let's do that. Don't leave this on the table, right? And then we have an attack. Again, I don't like this stuff, but let's just enchant it anyways. It's probably what we should do. Enchant, and that defense percent should also go up, I think. But we're just going to go with that because, like, more survivability. I think he mentioned that Mavar is, like, the first one to die as well. So it wouldn't be all that surprising based on what I'm seeing here. So that doesn't need glyphs. That doesn't need glyphs. We have HP percent. Again, just it's a good piece. Might as well just kind of push that up. So good there. Could also get some more glyphing going on. HP percent, defense percent, like the stats are fine. It's a weird set, right? It's good speed. I don't know what, like, can we not get this in something else? I feel like that's where maybe I'm wondering, right? But overall, I guess in protection, like I don't know what's there. Um, Protection, like there's some, not a lot, right? I don't know if there's enough here to really make a big difference. So let's do like a speed. Right? I'm not sure. There's a lot of speed on some of this gear, actually. 18, like 25, like what we can do though is we can just glyph them up a little bit more, and that's what I'm wondering. Like here with this helmet, like let's put a speed glyph on. Looks pretty good. Oh, we got a +8, so that's even better, right? So that's way more speed. That's gonna help. And then 3 is fine there. This is +1. We could probably get this up a little bit more, right? Let's. Oh wow, we got 2 greens in a row. That's a lot of extra speed we just got from Vara. So we're getting almost up to 300. Same with here, a +1. Let's roll that up. See if we get. Oh my god, we got 3 +8 speed rolls. That's crazy. So now we're over at like 303, and that should make up for, I think, what we lost out to Hanorak, hopefully. HP percent over here. Let's roll this up again. 6% more survivability. So I think I'm kind of broadly okay with this for just now, right? For her stats, things like that. Do we have any accessories that can maybe go up to 16? I didn't like this HP from Ezio, so I'm going to leave it where it is. It's not an attack-based item. Anything else? Pelops 16, 16, 16. I mean, everything looks okay for just now. I would be curious about running this again and then seeing what we get as far as Demon Lord numbers. So let's see. Okay, so we're here in Ultra Nightmare Demon Lord, but we have the Spirit Affinity. And I'm going to put this in auto. We're going to kind of come back after we run this and see what has changed. Now, I'm hoping we do better overall, or at least match what he got on the Force Affinity, right? If we can get at least 60 million on a Spirit Affinity, which is, kind of neutral at this point, then that's an improvement. And I think that he very well could get up to 70 million plus on a Force Affinity if we can get that, or even a Void Affinity, right? Unfortunately, it's all about how fast you get to your Demon Lord when you're running it, because your clan members could get there and just change the affinity really quickly. So getting to that 1 key is kind of our goal. Seems like his maximum is 63.5 million. We'll see how this does, though, after all the changes. All right, so just checking in part way, we're at a boss turn count of, 19 now, with about 28 million damage. I'm hoping that we can at least double this or get close to 60 million on the Spirit Affinity, because I'm thinking that if we can do that, then getting to 70 million plus on Force Affinity would definitely be possible, and that's his road to the 1 key. I also, one thing that we didn't do before we started this is my recommendations of blessings that I mentioned earlier on at the beginning of the video has not changed. So I think that we could get more damage out by changing Pelops to Cruelty at 3 red, which would give an additional 10% decrease of defense on the Demon Lord, which would obviously impact also the overall damage. And I think maybe getting more crit damage into the Spirit Affinity in the Great Hall is an absolute priority as well for this team. We came so close, guys. We got 67.5 million damage. Why does this matter? Because this was on Spirit Affinity, which I guess for some, it's actually pretty neutral because the DPS are all Spirit-based, Mavar is not. She died a little bit sooner. I think that with some RNG and with some and definitely attacking Force Affinity, which gives you what is it, a 20 or 30% bonus? I think it's 30% damage bonus. That this would definitely get him to the 1 key there, right? I want to put the comparison there on the damage with Ezio at 30.4 million and Pelops at 18 million, because what we had before, I mean, Pelops was not a huge improvement, and I guess, but just across the board, everyone did a little bit more, right? This is on Force Affinity, though, mind you. So again, everyone did better in this test run here, right? 27, Pelops 17, Mikey 12.7, and then again, Mikey did more damage here. Everyone's doing a bit more. Now, obviously, some things that I would do, and which I mentioned, also the blessing, but improving that Great Hall crit damage a little bit more for the Spirit Affinity, because that's what he's using. And, honestly, which I should have done before here, was just dropping a few of the crit damage possibly into here, right? You could do this, and this is in just to get you there, right? Maybe just 3 levels, which would give you an additional 9% crit damage here for a couple levels, maybe even like a couple of points in speed. Like every little bit helps to get you over that line, and I really think that we can get him there, and I think after this, he'll find a way to do it. So I do think that the gear changes that we made did make an improvement overall. Obviously, we can only work with what we have, right? And so at the end of the day, I hope that this helped him, and I hope that this does get him to that goal that we're looking to get, right? That Ultra Nightmare 1 key, and I think we're so close. And I think we just need to push a little bit further in those areas that I mentioned. Blessings, Great Hall bonuses, area bonuses, this kind of thing that's going to drive him over the line for that. So I have, without a doubt, I think he's going to get there very soon. All right, I wanted to edit in a little bit of a thing at the end here. So Disrhythmic did end up using my team suggestion here, and also the rework, everything that I did here, basically in today's video, and he was able to do 80.7 million damage, which obviously got him to that one key to Ultra Nightmare. So I'm pretty happy that by the end of all of this, that I was able to get him to the one key. I don't remember what affinity this was. Either it was something, it was right, because if it was Force, it would have been very good, of course. But I think this was actually just Void, which means that the Force affinity, because all the characters being Spirit based, would do even more than this. So either way, being able to sim and auto, whether it's a one key or a two key, on Ultra Nightmare, just getting to make sure that you hit that 70 million one time to unlock the simming is just so important. So I'm really happy that we managed to do this. I hope that this whole video was a little bit helpful, though, for people who are kind of at that threshold, right? Who might be in a similar position, who are like doing that nightmare, doing that ultra nightmare, and just need a little bit more push and wondering why. And a lot of times it has to do with juggling your speed stat with your crit damage, with your crit rate, with your crit damage, and speed, and getting more turns and things like that, and some survivability extra stats here and there, and how to push that the extra way. Anyways, it was a bit of a long video, but there we are. We made it to the end. And before we go, of course, I do want to remind people that if you haven't started, if you want to get in on this excitement, use the QR code in the top right hand of the screen to get RTAC absolutely free. We also have Ferric in the Fat, we have Tvenex, and then we have Kryda in the Blue at level 10, 20, and 30. And Pelops, who was a big part and a big help in this journey. Use the promo code RAID7 to get Pelops the Victor absolutely free in the first 48 hours of a brand new account. That's it for me, everyone. Have a great day, and I'll see you all in the next one. And if you like this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and you'll be greatly helping out the channel. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys on the next one.